So today I thought it would be fun to go back and take a look at my preseason takes about VCT and talk about just how wrong I and Pladchat was, because Pladchat made a power ranking tier list and then I decided to try and correct it, and here is the list that Pladchat came up with. Okay, so at the time Pacific and Talon, now Full Sense, they hadn't announced their rosters yet, so they really weren't involved in this, but of the other 46 teams, this is what they came up with. And there are some mistakes on there, some mistakes that I repeated as well. But I do remember, I'm going to give myself some victories here. I remember the main reason I made this video was simply because I argued that G2 and Fnatic, there is no way they should be A-tier teams and they must be in the S-tier. Now, remember, this is for the entirety of the season. So whilst the G2 take right now is looking probably pretty good, you know, the Fnatic take, you know, you might have some doubts about, but I think long term, over the course of the entire season, I still have some confidence that Fnatic will end up being an S-tier team. So those were a couple of my wins. However, my list is almost as bad, if not worse, potentially, than the Pladchat list, as you will now see. Because lo and behold, this is what I came up with, and this is not great. Now, if I were to rate these teams, I probably would have put Pacific in the D tier, to be honest. I probably would have put Full Sense. I was actually pretty high on Full Sense, so I probably would have put them in the A tier. But if you take a look at this, my S tier, right? The first three in the S tier, NRG, Paper X, G2, I'm feeling great about right now. Okay? I think that looks pretty good. You might look at the other three S tier teams in Fnatic, Vitality, and MIBR and be like, oh, TMV, you got it wrong. But did I get it wrong? Again, this is for the whole season. Is this wrong? I still feel pretty good about those teams overall. I think if I was going to change any of these teams, it would probably be Vitality coming down here to the A tier. But I actually think long-term Fnatic and MIBR, I still think will be very good. So maybe I would move Vitality down here. But really, it is the A tier where things, I think, get a little bit disastrous for me. Perhaps the hardest team to know what to do with in terms of what tier will they end up in 2026 is Team Heretics. Because you can still talk yourself into this team very, very easily, I think, right? We have seen them be incredible, incredible players and reach grand finals and be very good. But it is concerning. And I think there are concerns there that they seem a little bit lost in terms of what direction they actually want or need to go in. So the choice is they definitely have to move down in the A tier. That's for certain, because both Pladchat and me put them at the very highest of the A tier. But the question is, are they going to end up being a B tier team? I still have some faith, but you definitely could make that argument. DRX are in a pretty good spot. Lev, I think what we saw from Lev and their playstyle and how it all goes, they've got to drop down. I'm very concerned about this team. I actually think not only are they just a B tier, they're probably low B tier, maybe even knocking on the door of C tier. Now, I think their players are good enough to get them out of the C tier. T1 probably actually need to move up to the highest of A tier. I think that's fair for them. You could even argue that they should be an S tier team. BLG also looks pretty rough because they didn't make it at Santiago, but they did play with a sub for their last couple games in the finals to make it to Santiago. So I do think it's possible they will have to come into the B tier though, just because all of China, I think, looks a little bit rough. And Gen.G, I mean, it's rough at Gen.G. I know some people will still have faith in them, but I do think they've got to move down into the B tier as well, for certain, based off what we've seen. I don't think they'll be atrocious, but B tier for certain. Full Sense have just made a roster move, by the way, actually, so they're probably going to end up as a B tier team as well, and Heretics I am going to keep there. Moving on to the B tier, EDG, I think, are a B tier team. I actually think RRQ, despite the fact that they didn't make it, kind of showed that they are an A tier team. And I think the one Chinese team who will end up being at least decent is probably XLG. I just came off the back of watching that AG XLG game, and how XLG did not win that game, I have no idea. AG are not good. DRG probably can stick in the B tier. I've put EG this high, and I knew they wouldn't be good at the start of the season, but having seen them, do I worry even more? Maybe. You know what? I still think by the end of the season, they'll be better than Cloud9. 100 Thieves actually are probably moving up here to the top of the B tier. I think, you know, things are looking pretty good there. Sen, some of the Sen fans will want me to put them down in the C tier, but I think that's a little too harsh. Team Liquid, I mean, Team Liquid just always make these internationals. I guess they do have to be an A tier team. I think Liquid are the quintessential, like, what, worst A tier team? BBL, both me and Pladchat put them in the kind of, you know, mid B tier, like, feeling that they were going to be decent, but they probably did overachieve. I'm actually pretty high on BBL. I actually think they'll be better than Vitality over the course of the season. I do. I think that they will really kind of push here and be quite good. Then you got the brothers of KC and Foot, who I put next to each other, the two gluey MEA teams, who I'm gonna have to sink into the C tier here. Giants didn't really inspire. Wolves weren't very good. They can come to the bottom of the C tier. Yeah, Envy also I'm a little bit worried for long term, so let's put them in the C tier as well. And then going through the C tier here, Navi, they need to rise up. They're like a good B tier team, I would say. Nongshim. Ooh, now, Nongshim made it to Master Santiago. They did win Pacific, and the way that they play their style probably won't get nerfed, right? Like, when we're looking at agents that are probably going to get nerfed, you're looking at Yoru, you're looking at Waylay, you're maybe looking at Viper. That could affect Nongshim a little bit, but in terms of, like, the main strategy that they have of Danby running in, I guess Francis might need to play a slightly different agent. It could affect them somewhat in how like the whole situation works out, but Neon won't get nerfed, I don't think, which should still keep them pretty good. But I'm gonna go on a bit of a hot take here. Over the course of the entire season, I don't think Nongshim will keep this up. I think they'll be a high B tier team. I'm gonna put them next to 100 Thieves. Okay, FPX were dreadful in China, and yeah, they need to really sort their stuff out. I'm actually going to put them in D tier because they were not very good. Envy are in the right spot. Varel, probably need to be a bit lower in the C tier. Okay, Mates, we need to move up. Will Mates have a better overall season than Team Liquid? Pretty possible they do. Ulf also played with subs. This is also going to sound like a bit of a hot take, but Ulf and BBL, like when you watched Ascension, I don't think we're that far away from each other, and the fact that BBL have come in and, you know, kind of dominated does make me think Ulf with their actual players. I'm not going to put them all the way up in A tier, but I actually think I'm going to put them in B tier here. Okay, Nova. Did Nova win a map in China? I can't remember. They didn't do much. I remember that. Okay, Global are like a solid B tier team, I would say. Trace weren't that great. Let's move them down. Crew. Now, I've kind of hopped on this Crew bandwagon a little bit here. Honestly, it feels wrong to have all these, like, I mean, let's put EG down here. What am I doing? You know what? I'm going to put Left down here as well, but I'm going to move Crew up. I'm a Crew believer, and you can't prove me wrong at this point because Crew, you know, haven't played with their full roster, so you don't know how good they're going to be. Okay, DFM, they definitely looked like a solid B tier team. They actually beat Global, so yeah, they're probably like up here. Furia. Okay, now I've already done this with Nongshim before, but do I believe that Furia will be like a top contender going forward? I unfortunately don't. I still think they'll be good, so I still am going to put them here up with kind of the likes of these other teams. Long term, I'm still not 100% sure. Okay, then we've talked about KC and Foot. Loud, it's looking rough, but Loud could be okay. They could be a C tier team with some changes, I'm sure. Tyloo, oh well, we got AG and Tyloo. Now, here's again my hot take. I don't think AG are very good at this game. I don't know how they won. I don't know how they won that final against XLG, I'll be honest. I'm going to put them at the lowest B tier. You might be like, TMV, they just won China. They must be all right. They're not. Trust me. I don't think this is a good team. I have no idea how they did it. So I'm going to put them at the lowest B tier. Tyloo did win some games, so they can go up a little bit. And then, yeah, we've got KC, Foot, Wolves, and Loud. And then FPX, Nova, Pacific. Oh, not put Pacific above. The Pacific actually did show something. I think Pacific might be a C tier team. Zeta, Team Secret, and Tech. And Tech as well did win a couple games, so they can move up into the C tier there as well. And yeah, this is where I think I'm at right now in terms of adjusted expectations. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Will Team Heretics fix all of their problems? What teams would you change around on my new kind of rankings? Remember, this is for the whole season. This is not just for right now. Don't say, you know, oh, Nongshim should be an S tier because they won Pacific. No, I want you to think about at the end of Champs, what will you think of Nongshim? I put them in the high B tier. Maybe you would disagree. I guess let's find out.